I have a very good feeling that this is going to be the week Damian Lillard gets traded to the 305 and is wearing a Miami Heat uni. Make sure you are subscribed because we're breaking down trade negotiations, all of the latest rumors, and when the trade does happen, we're going live. So join the channel, and with that said, let's get this show started. Today's show is fully dedicated to Dame Time, Mr. Lillard, because there is a lot of reports flying out from ESPN, from the Miami Herald. There is stuff everywhere when it comes to Mr. Lillard. And I want to start with what Greg Sylvander of 5 Reasons Sports Network had to say, because he kind of had things seeming like they're progressing a little bit this past weekend. He said that the Blazers and Heat have made some progress in the last 48 to 72 hours on a potential Damian Lillard trade. He did say this over the weekend. Sorry, guys, I couldn't get that video out. A little busy with the NFL schedule. But I will say this. This is the time to get this deal done. Why? I've been saying it for the past month. No one part of this situation wants this to drag out to training camp. And training camp is just about 15 days away. We're about 2 weeks from players reporting to team facilities to get preparation underway for the 23-24 NBA regular season. The Blazers don't want Damian Lillard to be hanging around their team facility, having a dark cloud under the umbrella that will be Scoot Henderson, Anfernee Simons, and Shaedon Sharpe. And the Heat certainly don't want Nikola Jovic, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Tyler Hero, and Kyle Lowry reporting to the Heat facilities, knowing that they could easily be shipped out and were part of main trade discussions for Lillard the entire offseason. This is the time to get it done, and I do believe it will be this week. But I want to know what you guys think. Will Damian Lillard get traded this week? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Today's pinned comment, so if you get hit with a YouTube ad break, let it play, scroll down, and answer my pinned question right now. Going back onto what the latest is with Lillard, there's a lot of conflicting reports because I just mentioned the report that Greg Sylvander had about this progressing pretty good. But now Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald kind of mentioned something different on Twitter today when referencing what Brian Windhorst said, which we'll get to in a little bit. But Barry Jackson said this sums things up. Heat want Lillard but doesn't want to bid against itself. Nothing was close as of Saturday when I checked. And I will want to say this. Greg Sylvander did kind of go back on what he said and not really go back completely on saying things aren't progressing. But Greg did not say they are close. He just said things are moving in the right direction, and they're starting to lay out maybe the groundwork of what the trade will be, and there's still a lot of time in this week. It's only Monday for them to continue these talks and negotiations. But I'm not going to discredit what Barry Jackson said or Greg Sylvander said, because both have sources and are both well documented within the Heat organization. When those two guys speak on trade talks, I am going to listen because I do think they have ins with the Miami Heat front office. And honestly, the fact that we're getting any reports on Damian Lillard trade negotiations is a good thing because it means things are actually happening. Cronin and Riley are actually talking. They're on the phone making things happen. I would rather have the conflicting reports between Greg and Barry that we have right now than the radio silence we have had basically the entire month of August and the first week of September. I like the way things are heading, and it's why I believe this Heat trade is going to go down. My prediction is Thursday, just so you guys know. But Brian Windhorst kind of chimed in on the situation earlier today on ESPN. He said this: I think what the Blazers want, if they're dealing with one team, which would be the Miami Heat or nothing, they want Miami to literally scrounge into every nook and cranny and produce everything they possibly can. And the Heat don't feel a need to do that. They haven't since June. And this is not going to be an easy job for Pat Riley and the rest of that Miami Heat front office. There's a couple reasons for that. One, when you're bidding against yourself, you don't have to send all of your assets. But we're also talking about a player in Damian Lillard that is a top 5 point guard in the association, a top 20 player in the NBA. This isn't some Joe Schmo that the Heat are trying to trade for and don't want to give up some assets. They're talking about a perennial All-NBA player and someone who was named to the All-NBA Top 75 team just a couple years ago. And when you're dealing with the Portland Trailblazers GM Joe Cronin, who seems to be unhinged and we don't know what he wants, it's going to take a lot of navigation to figure out what is the right package to give Portland to take Damian Lillard. Because when there's that ugly trade request that goes public and he only demands your team, that's going to lower the price down a little bit. But we do have to also understand the Heat are trying to get one of the best players in the league, and it's not going to come for pennies. The Portland Trailblazers are going to get some valuable assets from the Miami Heat, and us as fans have to realize that we're not going to fleece them. We do have to send something good, and it's that man's job right there, Pat Riley, to figure out what the right deal is. You know what is a great deal? It's BetUS, because they are the best sports book on the market. And if you use our promo code chat125 at chatsports.com/bet, you are going to get 125% deposit bonus, which means if you deposit $100, you're going to get an extra $125 to play with, giving you $225 in totality. You can use it to bet on the NBA, the NFL, college football, or maybe you want to do a little future action like I did with the Eastern Conference odds, because when Damian Lillard goes to the Miami Heat this week, those odds of plus 450, they're going to skyrocket probably to number one on the list. So take advantage of these odds right now at chatsports.com/bet, promo code chat125 for that 125% deposit bonus. All right, let's move on to the next report that came out today from Sam Amico of Hoops Hype, and he said this: despite being warned by Lillard's agent to stay away, who is Aaron Goodwin, several teams beyond the Heat have considered trading for Lillard. Sources told Hoops Wire. Several others have offered as a third-team facilitator. And I have a couple takeaways from this little blurb from Amico, and I'll start with takeaway number one. The combination of what Brian Windhorst said and what Sam Amico just said makes me think that those reports that those two reporters have are coming from the Blazers, because they're mentioning other teams being involved, and Windhorst mentioned that they want every asset possible. So that means to tell me that Portland's trying to get that to the public so other teams see it, and the NBA media, NBA fans see it as well, as that is what they want. And the Heat are just going to have to deal with that. Takeaway number two: Nikola Jovic, the 27th pick in 2 drafts ago, and Jaime Jaquez Jr., the 18th pick in this past NBA draft, will not be playing for the Heat in 2023. Do I think there's a chance Jaime Jaquez Jr. is on this Heat roster this year? Absolutely. But I don't think Jovic is, and Jaquez is to be determined, but based off those reports, it does seem like Portland wants Jaquez. Tyler Hero and Caleb Martin, those guys are very TBD, because you heard that third team talk from Sam Amico. Hero could be going to a third team to free up more draft picks to send to Portland for Miami. Caleb Martin could be doing the same thing to add more draft picks, or maybe Portland does want Caleb Martin to be a wing/power forward for that young Blazers team. So Hero and Martin's statuses for this upcoming season is very much in the air, but I do fully believe that Nikola Jovic and Jaime Jaquez Jr. will not be wearing a Heat uniform in this upcoming season. But how about you, though? Will both Triple J, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and Jovic be in the Damian Lillard trade? Type Y1 for yes, Type 2 for no. I did want to mention Kyle Lowry, because he is an absolute lock to be in this trade. And I actually found it kind of funny, because if you look at this picture right here, you're going to see that Kyle Lowry was at the Colorado college football game this week with who else other than Chauncey Billups, the head coach for the Portland Trailblazers. Windhorst was featured in this show earlier, but I do got to bring up, what does this mean? Because if they're spending time together, do they know something we don't know? It is very likely, but when you think of why Lowry would be involved in this trade, it goes beyond basketball reasons, but it goes to financial reasons. And Lowry's $30 million contract that he is owed this upcoming season is really one of the only big contracts that the Heat would be willing to move on from, because they're not moving Jimmy's contract, they're not moving Bam's contract, which means Lowry's $30 million will absolutely have to go to Portland to at least match salaries in a Damian Lillard trade. But the news didn't stop there today, because Mark J. Spears hopped on ESPN and said the latest I'm hearing is that the Blazers have been talking to several teams. That also suggests they could be willing to send Dame somewhere that's not Miami, which is very curious. But will he really be happy as an employee? Do you really want to do that to Dame? And I want to say this. Please do not panic. You saw the report by Aggregation Center, NBA Central, about a mystery team being involved on a Damian Lillard trade from the Eastern Conference. My firm stance on this, and I will go to my grave saying this, and if I'm wrong, freezing cold takes clip it. But all of these reports coming out today about other teams being involved and how steep the trade package is and what Portland wants is all being leaked by Portland's side. This is a negotiation tactic to try to drive up the price point for the Miami Heat. And I'll say this. If there is a mystery team out there, where have they been the last 2 months? Think about this. We have only been hearing for the last 2 months that the Heat are the only team that want to trade for Damian Lillard. And maybe there was a team like Boston Celtics who were interested. But Dame clearly doesn't want to play there because he came out and said he will never play for the Boston Celtics. So who is that other mystery team? To me, I am thinking this is a made-up report by Portland to try to get Miami to sweat a little bit and trade more assets than they need to for Damian Lillard. But one thing that I am very certain on, Pat Riley, Andy Ellisberg, and this Heat front office, who are very, very experienced, they have experience getting a big whale in a trade. Shaq to the Heat. They pulled LeBron and Chris Bosh to Miami to team up with D. Wade. They know what to do, and I have all the faith in the world that they will see right through this nonsense reporting leaking from the Portland Trail Blazers, and they will get the deal done this week for a reasonable price. And before we head out today, I had to show this because it made me laugh. If you remember, Dropping Dimes 20, the amateur NBA analysis, a.k.a. the burner reporter on Twitter during free agency, basically nailed Bradley Beal getting traded to the Phoenix Suns and has nailed some other reports as well. Draymond Green back to the Warriors. He is very hit or miss and very anonymous, I should say, as you can see by the profile picture. But I'll say this. In Dropping Dimes 20, we trust. Let's hope he's right, and this deal does get done very, very soon. Like I said, if the deal does get done, we are going to make a video on it. We will be going live to break down that trade and what it means for the Miami Heat. So do not miss out. Subscribe to us at The Heat Report, and don't be a loser. Go Heat.